I hate wearing bras. They're uncomfortable, constricting, and expensive. With work from home, I spent the last year and a half basically never wearing a bra and got used to it. Quite frankly, my boobs are non-existent anyways. I recently started going to the gym again and started working out braless. I should note that up until now, no one has ever pointed out anything wrong with me not wearing a bra. However, in the middle of a set of squats, yes, mid-squat, a guy comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder to get my attention, and tells me that my nipples are poking out through my shirt. I get really irritated because why the F is this guy staring at my nipples in the first place and then stopping me mid-set to inform me? I ignore him and try to finish my set, but then this mofo literally grabs the bar, and as I ascend, he re-racks it for me. He claimed it looked like I was having trouble with my last rep and that he had to come over and make sure I could do it, and that's when he noticed my nipples. I'm really pissed off at this point, and I told him I don't need his help finishing my set and why the F he was looking at my chest in the first place. He said he was going to spot me, but then noticed my chest and thought it would be inappropriate. I pointed out that the safety bar was set, so even if I did fail the set, he wasn't needed. He just insisted that people at the gyms look out for each other and that going forward, I should probably wear a bra so that other people won't get uncomfortable and it may help me stay more balanced in my squats. I'm literally the only girl in the weight section of the gym at the moment, and other guys who are squatting and failed sets never have to worry about this shit. So now I'm really annoyed and also kind of uncomfortable that this guy I've never spoken to in my life thinks he's helping me and then has the audacity to tell me how to dress. So I tell him, you have bigger boobs and nipples than I do. Maybe you should wear a bra so people won't get uncomfortable and you won't fail your squats. He then got really defensive, saying that he was just trying to help and then called me a bitch. Honestly, I'm not sure if I overreacted, but I'm still kind of pissed off, so maybe that's clouded my judgment. Am I the asshole? I was kidnapped when I was 10 years old while camping with my family. We were at the state lake when my parents had to run some errands. All of us kids were left with one of our aunts. I went to the creek next to our camper to go fishing, probably about 75 yards or so. I had forgotten to bring my bait and I didn't want to go back for it. Unlucky for me, a man was there, so I asked him for some worms. He said they were in his car just around the corner. He guided me there and that's when it happened. I was gagged and taken to a different part of the park grounds. What happened next, as one could imagine, are the things my nightmares were made of for countless years to come. Even now, I can recall it in vivid details. Thankfully, I was found within 2 hours of my kidnapping. Unlucky for him, it was my father who found us first. My father tried to subdue him while other family members alerted police. They exchanged a few punches, but the man somehow escaped my father's wrath and fled. My father hurried back to my side and clothed me without asking any questions. He just wanted to make sure that I was safe in that exact moment. The man was apprehended by state troopers and local PD 30 minutes later. Cue all the legal shenanigans and sentencing. The dude was a repeat offender and still only served 12 years in prison. After this occurred, I acted out. I got into trouble with local police on several occasions. My therapist and psychiatrist said that I was quote-unquote crying out for help. When this happened, there was no Me Too movement. However, my parents buckled down on getting me the help that I really needed and found a therapist who really helped me for years to come. When I was in high school and deemed cured, I still saw my therapist for a couple years after. That man was my best friend. I could tell him anything and not be judged. As a result, I learned to trust people again and open myself up back to the world. The second worst day of my life was when my abductor got out. My heart dropped and I was terrified. My parents kept tabs on him and kept me home from school that entire week. Nothing ever came from that, thankfully. He knows what he's done and I'm in a good place in life where I don't care to pay him any mind. It was part of my past, but it doesn't dictate my future. My husband and I got married last month and had a small, wonderful wedding. 2 weeks before the wedding, my best friend / maid of honor's boyfriend asked if it would be okay to propose during my reception. I first told him how thrilled that I was that he was proposing to my friend and how excited she would be, but I really wasn't comfortable with him proposing during the wedding, at least as a public thing. He seemed totally shocked that I said no, which I can understand. He said that weddings are supposed to be about celebrating love and that as her best friend, I should want them to finally get engaged after 11 years together. I absolutely want that for them, but I just didn't understand why it needed to happen during the 5.5-hour window of my ceremony / cocktail hour / reception. I was very apologetic and offered to help however I could with the proposal on any other day, but he was clearly not happy with me. I hadn't heard from my maid of honor since the wedding, which is probably the longest we've ever gone without talking. I had tried several times to get in touch with her and let her know that at one point I had something of hers that she had lost at the wedding. Never any response. I texted her the other day saying that I was going to drop off the lost item at her house so she'd have it, and she finally responded. Apparently, during the after party at the hotel bar, maid of honor's boyfriend got very drunk and told her that she would have been engaged that night if I hadn't ruined his plan. She said she isn't exactly mad at me, but she feels like her future engagement is ruined and I denied her a chance at happiness. I told her that I was so sorry and the conversation ended pretty awkwardly. Another mutual friend who knows what's going on says that she doesn't love that he planned to propose at the wedding, but thinks I was an asshole for ultimately saying no. Am I the asshole for rejecting her boyfriend's request to propose at my wedding?
In movies and TV shows, a common piece of the story is a character getting bailed out of jail by a friend or family member, which makes no sense to me because I have no friends who would bail me out of jail. None. Anybody I called would just be like, "You're in jail? Well, for how long?" Well, honey, this is why you shouldn't go skinny dipping in the river rapids at Disneyland. Yeah, honestly, it's gross. Hey, but you know what? You can do anything for 3 weeks, right? You can. I believe in you, girl. You got this, okay? Okay, I'm gonna hang up now, but good luck. Like that is what they would say. And if I called my parents, even worse, they would just be like, "Don't do illegal things and you won't get thrown in jail." Also, Katie, don't tell anyone about this because it's very embarrassing for us as a family. I've officially reached crotchety old millennial stage. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen, but I was at a Jonas Brothers concert with my friend, and she said something like, oh, some of these Gen Zers just have no respect for anybody. And I said, tell me about it. The other day I was in Target, and these Zoomers got mad at me because I was walking too slow down the aisle. And I wanted to say, listen, ladies, some of us aren't at Target for fun anymore. Some of us come to Target because we're defeated and sad and having an existential crisis, and we needed somewhere to go on a night walk that was safe. And also we needed milk. And also when the Target carts, you can lean your whole body on them and just let them slide you across the store. You don't even have to lift your feet. You can literally just trudge through Target for your night walk. But we were at the Jonas Brothers concert and we were keeping up with the youths, okay? We were fangirling really hard. And then freaking Nick Jonas leans into his mic and he said, give us a cheer tonight if you came here with someone you love. Which, not cool, Nick, because my friend went, woo! And I did nothing. And then I realized she was cheering and I was like, oh, woo! I also came with someone I loved, but she noticed. She noticed I didn't cheer right away. And she just looked over and she was like, I love you. And my stupid ass went, oh, you're so nice. And then the show ended super abruptly, no encore, nothing. And my friend was really mad about it. And I was trying to defend the Jonas Brothers. And also because I think everything's about me all the time and therefore my fault, I said, you know what? Maybe it was our fault. The audience kind of sucked tonight. When Nick stopped singing so that we could sing the words, the audience didn't know the words. And I could see the disappointment on Nick's face. And it did not feel good. You know, it was like a group project. You and I did our part. The rest of the team didn't. Nick's disappointed in us. No encore. So we're having this conversation, and then a woman came up to us and said, girls, the show is over, you need to leave. And I said, oh yeah, of course, I'm sorry. But then I immediately got angry at her tone and my reaction to her tone. I was like, who does she think she is? My mother? She can't talk to us like that. We're not girls, we're grown women. And a little old man who was also working the venue heard my outburst and he kind of like came over and he said, what? And I said, we're not girls, we're women. And he said, yes, you are. And I said, Jonas Brothers fans, they're not little kids anymore, okay? We're adults. A lot of people at this concert weren't even conceived when the Jonas Brothers became a band, but we were already alive.
Am I the asshole for acting unhappy at me and my wife's gender reveal? My wife is 7 months pregnant and it came as a complete surprise as my wife had been taking birth control regularly. We originally planned to not have any kids, but my wife changed her mind after her first ultrasound. I respected her decision even if I wasn't the happiest about it, and I told her that regardless I wasn't going to force her to make a decision. We had a gender party late because of issues with the pandemic, but we finally got around to it. I already was not happy given the circumstances that I did not want to have any children. I still participated to show support to my wife though. Once the gender reveal happened, everyone, including my wife, was ecstatic. She went to hug me and I hugged her back, just not with the same energy. Am I the asshole for acting unhappy at me and my wife's gender reveal? She looked at me with a concerned face, but went off to hug some of her other friends and family. Once it was over and we got everything put up, she blew up at me. She said I embarrassed her in front of her family and the least I could have done was pretended that I cared. I told her I didn't see a point in throwing a party just because of the gender, but she wanted to do it, so I agreed. She said she understood that I really didn't want to have a baby, but said that since they were almost here, I should probably lose the attitude already. I said that since she knew that I didn't want the baby, she shouldn't be surprised I wasn't enjoying the baby shower. She thought that the shower would change my mind. I'm not going to apologize for showing my emotions, and I need time to adjust. Am I the asshole for not paying to change my father's gravely insulting gravestone? My father and mother had a very bitter marriage towards the end of his life. He had a long-running affair with another married coworker and got her pregnant before he passed. He was planning to leave my mom, skip the country, and move to Canada to start a new life with her. They had a house picked out and all. He moved out and was living with his coworker when he suddenly died of a heart attack while having nasty time. Divorce papers were never filed, no legal separation. On paper, they were still married. My siblings are already out of home, but I'm visiting helping my mom manage his estate. My mom was hurt and petty and marked his gravestone as, in loving memory of John Doe's son, husband, father, and adulterer. Am I the asshole for refusing to drop out of my ex's family vacation after his fiance asked me to? My ex was in an open relationship but failed to inform me until after I got pregnant. His fiance and her family tried to convince me to have an abortion, but it wasn't what I wanted, so now I co-parent with my ex. Our son is 2, but he's only met a few members of his paternal family due to them living in different countries. My ex and his family asked me if I would be willing to bring them to meet them during their family vacay. His fiance made a big show of telling me how excited she was for the trip and for us to be on it. A few days ago, she came to see me alone and asked me to drop out of the trip. She said my son stole her future child's rightful place and that I owed her. I said no, this is good for my son.